Welcome to Natural Nonsense. We already started with nonsense. but it's me, Andre, and the homie Kyler. We here again.
The
Um
homie.
yes, the homie Kyler. I'm gonna put that as like your name in my phone, the homie Kyler. That's gonna be your new name in my phone. um but yeah, like welcome, episode 6. About to listen to some voice memos today. Looking at our votes for best animal companions in movies. We're gonna talk a little bit about like support and social media today, and then we're gonna get into some cool beans and highlight some Black folks that's doing some great work. So, um, yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So the Hyphy Doc is returning this week. Can't wait to hear what the Hyphy Doc has to say. Definitely a great supporter of Natural Nonsense. You see Andre getting hyphy on a video. But let's go ahead and listen to what the Hyphy Doc has for us this week.
All right, check it. So my sidekick is going to be a Canadian Timberwolf. Their name is going to be KG. Duh. And all you need to know is cross a Stark Direwolf with Airbud. You ain't seeing us on the streets or on the courts, and I'm saving hell on gas. Number 2, in regards to gladiator sports and accepted violence, love that convo. Think it needs to be talked about more. And I honestly feel like a lot would be different if we just add this one tweak in that anybody who is allowed to have any say on the rules, regulations, and compensation, for example, of the NFL and their players, they need to go through a physical simulation of getting hit across the middle by Ray Lewis. The same way that I feel like anybody who can even vote or have a say on women's health needs to go through a physical simulation of childbirth, because I bet you then people would think twice about this nonsense.
Hey, what? Hey, just gotta give a round of applause to that. I got to the point, direct. Wow, gotta love the hyphy dog. Now the dire wolf Airbud situation really threw me for like at first I was like, dang, no, that would be the perfect sidekick. Like, I mean, I'm just being honest, like, man.
Yeah. And then saving money on gas sent me.
Nah, for real. Cause like, bruh, cause you haven't seen Game of Thrones though, huh?
I have not.
Dire wolves are just like gigantic ass wolves, and yeah, they just gigantic ass wolves. So that mixed with Airbud, I agree. Like that's a solid setup. Like KG, the wolf, yeah, that's a solid one. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like on just the bodily autonomy part, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that gets into the gladiatorism too in a way. But it's like the body autonomy and how we're set up in a society where folks not impacted by things get to make decisions based on things. And I think that's just something that's important to kind of just keep in mind, like what types of decisions are being made by folks who actually don't have any knowledge of it. Like for example, the last presidency, the person leading education for the Department of Education like had no background in education, like had great credentials in other areas, but had nothing in education. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? You know? So
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole though, because we both work in education, and I think that we know a lot about people who don't have a background in education or experience or skills in education, and they trying to be educators. But that might have to be another
yeah, that's
podcast
gonna
that
have to
we
be
create.
its own podcast. I could probably talk for. We might have to make it part 1, part 2, part 3. Good gracious.
Good gracious indeed. But Cam got me wanting to change my animal. I kind of want the wolf from Thor Ragnarok now, because
Dang.
it was throwing down and that thing was huge. Or direwolf was bigger than that wolf? Because I don't think so.
Trying to. I don't think because the dire wolves are closer to probably like the size of a tiger or like a lion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the wolf in Thor Ragnarok's like the size of my apartment building.
Oh yeah. No. It's not that big. It's not like Clifford. By the way, why did they make that movie? But anyway, we can just another subject for another day. But geez, that creepy ass movie.
Look,
Oh,
man, I just feel like some things don't need to be made. Like I love Clifford watching it
me
as a
too.
kid,
Oh, of
the
course.
animation, but they didn't need to that big old nah,
What was
nah,
her
man.
name? What was her name? Emily
Em,
Elizabeth.
yeah, Emily Elizabeth, the white ass name, but
Yeah, definitely did not need to see that movie being like it was actually terrifying seeing the previews. But yeah,
but I also wanted to us to be able to talk about something else that the hyphy dog going for MVP of the Natural Nonsense Listener Pod, I shall say, because the hyphy dog sent us this video of Jordan Peele talking about uh aliens and all things related to his newest movie Nope. Don't worry, this does not contain any Nope spoilers if any of y'all have not seen Nope, but we wanted to go ahead and play this clip of Jordan Peele, which shows, in my theory, that Jordan Peele will be listening to Natural Nonsense. So
I
please
agree
hold.
with that. I think so too. Honestly,
Movies. I was ready to add some. Yeah, but yeah, I do believe in UFOs. I want to say that, or I believe in aliens, and I believe in life that is not us in this universe. And sometimes I think if aliens came down, like I would turn on all of y'all.
Oh, interesting.
Like in a heartbeat. And it's not because I don't like you, but I feel like there might be room for like one prime human on the alien
So
planet.
he made a movie.
And so I made a move, and I would make that move. That's all I'm saying. I don't. No.
So you basically made a movie that you'd have to show them if it ever
I
happened.
just don't know if there's aliens out there. I already don't know whose side I'm on. That's all I'm saying.
That's very honest of you to
Assert
come right
them.
out and say it.
Hey.
This very honest.
hey, bar for bar, word for word, the whole flow. We was ahead of you. We was ahead of you, Jordan. We already knew this. But I knew this as soon as we asked the. It seems like there's some trepidation.
Yeah, he a little hesitant. He's like, I don't know what side I'm on. Nah, like because I just don't see any rational like explanation for why I should side on humanity.
Oh no. I mean, like no. I don't think there will be room like the one prime human. Like, nah. I mean, they gon' we know some stuff that they not gonna know. I mean, you can only read so much. So I think there's 7 billion of us. I don't think they'd have a reason to exterminate us. Why? They got all the technology to get extermination is something that never mind. I'm gonna go on a whole nother tangent, but it's a representation of white America's projections onto aliens that they would inherently be conquering as people because they was conquering as people. But hey, this is what it is.
Natural Nonsense contains adult content for adult minds who need to understand the real inner workings of the world.
Yeah. But let's
But
oh go ahead.
oh no, you got it.
I was gonna say let's get into this intro question. We had on the IG we were talking about animal companions in movies and stuff like that. Um and so my list, we both got some lists of, like our nominations. Some listener nominations I'll share first. First we got all the animals in Avatar. Um, I feel like that's a great point. I don't know what it is about the Avatar biodiversity, but I would love to have them as pets. Because I mean, hey, the pets we got, they cool, but dang, like I would definitely mess with the Avatar ones, and then Hedwig and Fox and Harry Potter. Um, I feel like, especially when it comes to the different levels of just animals in Harry Potter, like the owls be on it, man. The owls be on it. Like the owls will be there before people that got cell phones. So I don't know how they get there. I don't know how they find their path. I don't know how, something don't get them on the way, but there's gotta be more behind the story with that journey in between places. And JK Rowling
Yeah.
on some other stuff, but I would love to have like a little side mission book about what the what the owls be up to.
Do
And
they not
then
talk about that in the Fantastic Beast movies? I have no idea. I have not seen them, so
I
I'm
haven't seen
genuinely
them.
asking.
I know I haven't seen them, but even still, like Fantastic Beasts is kind of more like a prologue. So
Mm,
like even still, they're still not like they would give little insights, but it still wouldn't be like as in depth as like a book, just because like in the
yeah.
Harry Potter books, there's so much they leave out of movies of just like 2-3 pages explaining something, and then you just kind of know. But and then Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. It's a little controversial for me myself, but I just would think that the one that can destroy the whole city block might not be the best companion.
Hey, it depends on your definition of best. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if I got some international, alien cops, because that movie was another level of police brutality, because they international intergalactic cops coming to get coming to get him. But hey, I definitely would want Stitch on my team, but like the practicality is where I'm just like, okay, like what about a random Tuesday at 11 a.m.? I don't know. That's just my thing.
that's fair. That's fair.
And then we got Abu from Aladdin. That was another one that folks put. And I'm not mad at that. Abu really was head on a swivel. I think that was Abu's best quality.
Yeah, that is very true. I want to get Ashley's direct quote about Abu though on out of the comments, because she said, dang, IG really not messing with me. It ain't gonna show me the comments while I'm trying to pull up the comments. That's real foul. What did Ashley say here? Ashley said, had that nigga back the whole time. Real ones only. I think.
Yeah. That succinctly said what I said,
Yeah.
So hold on, Ashley. You want to share your nominations first?
Yeah. You want me to go one by one, or you want me to just go ahead and get a whole list?
Let's go one by one.
One by one. All right. So I'm gonna start with a very niche one because not a lot of people have seen this movie. And in my personal opinion, it's one of the greatest like dog movies of all time. I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score. It's only at like 44%, but what do they know? But the movie is called Good Boy, and the dog is called Hubble and Good Boy. The non-spoiler synopsis of Good Boy is this alien or the spaceship crashes on Earth, and Hubble hops up out the spaceship, and he's on a mission by his masters to figure out what dogs up to on planet Earth, and like what's the relationship with dogs and humans looking like. It's a really fun movie, very corny. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not a corny ass movie, but I love this movie. So if you
Hey,
have not seen Good Boy, highly recommend checking it out. If you like it, I put you on. If you don't like it, nobody asked you. But
yeah,
Hubble is my first nomination.
I'm gonna have to get into Hubble. I don't know nothing about Good Boy, so I'm
Maybe
gonna have
that's our
to.
first movie night, our first
Hey,
summer movie night.
maybe so, maybe so. Um, my first nomination is Battle Cat from Thundercats. I know it's an old cartoon and everybody ain't really hip, but Thundercats is one of them ones. Really confusing how they haven't come out with a Thundercats movie. They are remaking every damn thing, but I ain't seen not one Thundercat movie. Like, it's just kind of weird. Hey, I'm not in charge of movie studios, but hey, I don't know. But anyway, Battle Cat is like, because the Thundercats are different cats, like different big cats, people, humanoid things. It's You gotta watch it to kind of get it. But anyway,
Yeah.
Battle Cat is kind of like a little fearful and very um paying attention to detail. Like, oh, I don't think we should do this. Lionel, because Lionel is like the kind of the main character. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think we should do this. Seems a little sketchy. But as soon as Lionel say thunder, thunder, Thundercats, ho, Battle Cat get busy immediately. Like, it's a transformation. Like, the scary cat suddenly becomes this like 10-foot long tiger thing with battle gear, and it ain't no more being scary. He TTG immediately,
He ready.
like ready immediately, and there's no hesitation. You feel me? And I think that is a very valuable quality when it comes to a sidekick. Is just like being ready on a moment's notice when it's necessary. Because, like, yeah, while we chilling, do you need to be Battle Cat while we just sitting here? No. But if something pop off, I need you to get ready, and Battle Cat be getting ready. So that's my first nominee.
I'm happy that this is just a list of like our nominations for like favorites, because if our animals had to like fight or duke it out or anything, my team's not winning. Like, unfortunately,
You don't think Hubble got hands?
Hubble don't got hands, but he got some tricks, but he ain't got hands. Like, I'm not putting Hubble up against Thundercat, unfortunately, as much as I love Hubble. It's just not happening. But my second nomination, last two couple that I have are both like just classic like family movies. You throw the VHS and the VCR, you chilling, got some popcorn, watching a movie. Number 2 is Beethoven. Beethoven is just he's the OG. Like, he's an OG, like just a big family dog.
And then when we want to talk about titans in the movie industry, Beethoven got more movies than Samuel L. Jackson. I feel like Beethoven got like, it's got to be 15 movies. Like, I mean, not even capping. Like, it has to be, right? It's got to be at least 15. Because, I mean, there's the Christmas ones, and then there's just Beethoven the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Like, Beethoven had a run. I don't know if it's all the same Beethoven dog. I don't know that. But
so Beethoven has 8 movies.
8 movies. That's, hey.
It's a lot. It feels like more. I mean, there's Harry Potter and Beethoven got the same number of movies.
You didn't hear? Hey, that's just facts. That's just facts.
That is just facts. But I feel like Beethoven was one of the first like dog movies that I watched, and it was just like, dang, like I feel like I know Beethoven. Like, he cool, he big, lovable. Also taught me a lot about Saint Bernards. Like, they big as shit. They are big as shit.
Yeah, well, I will never have one.
Yeah, just never. Like, I remember when I first started watching Beethoven, I was like, dang, I want one. I think my dad was like, I think you need to realize how big it was. But this is where the movies, I feel, did a really good job, because they would show the family picking up after Beethoven. And I'm like, oh, I never, ever want to clean up after a Beethoven ass dog, because that's a lot of shit.
Literally, huh? Literally a lot of shit. I feel you on Beethoven. So my next one is Daxter from Jak and Daxter. So I called it Jak and Dexter. I saw the 8 just now when we was researching. I was like, it was Daxter the whole time. Ugh. Wow. But I really, for one, I know it's from a video game, but if you've never had a PlayStation 2, this game, when it came out, was like elite graphics. Like, the gameplay was out of this world, like the stuff that they was doing. And I feel like Jak be going through kind of a lot of dark stuff sometimes just through the journey. But hey, Daxter be supporting the mission, supporting, making sure everything get done, you know what I'm saying? Collecting what he can collect, you know what I'm saying? So I think Daxter is a solid companion to keep on my hip for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. I think it's very funny, like, in retrospect, like what's considered like really good graphics and what's not, because like I feel like the Jak and Daxter graphics, they are actually both really good for when Jak and Daxter came out, but also like comparatively, like it's not bad compared to like what's available now. Like they made a valiant effort on the graphics back then.
For 2001?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean,
It's
if you
solid.
get a game, we was just talking about video games. You get a game now in 2022 and the loading screen don't work, or the it be stuff missing out of the loading screen, and I'm just like, wait, bro, y'all released this game. Like, oh, well, we're about to patch it with an update. What? Like,
We're gonna have to have a whole separate thread
yeah,
on video games too, because I sometimes I really miss just popping in the N64 cartridge and the game starts.
yeah.
Ain't no loading screen. Cause like you buy the new 2K, you gotta wait an hour for it to download to your system. Then you gotta install the updates, and then once it's installed, it's like, oh, you can only play the training mode because we still got to install the rest of the game. It's too much. Man, what are we on tangent number 5 of the podcast?
Hey, natural nonsense, baby.
Amen to that. But my third and final nomination, also my favorite nomination, I would say, is the GOAT himself, Air Bud, one of the greatest athletes of all time. I think he
Bar
should be
none.
in multiple. He should be in multiple Hall of Fames by now.
Naismith, Football Hall of Fame, Soccer Hall of Fame,
All of it,
all of them,
and his kids hoop too. So
yeah.
like,
Legacy.
It's
They talk
Michael
about
Jordan's son ain't in the league.
Hey, and they talk about the Currys. I don't hear enough about Air Bud. That's all I'm gonna say, man. If I'm going pound for pound, like Air Bud got a dynasty going of just legacy right there. So I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah, like the Air Bud movies, like I think just seeing a dog like hoop, like I haven't watched any of those movies in a long time. I don't know what the quality of like the special effects and what not look like, but at the time I was like, man, I want to hoop with my dog.
Bruh, because there's people that I would hoop with that I would only hoop with. I don't know if you've had this experience, but like never would I want to kick it after. Like we exclusively hoop and then that is it, bro. I couldn't imagine being in any proximity of like, I'm glad we got this 94 feet of this court. Like Air Bud, after the game, we could kick it. Like, Ray, you want to get a pup cup? Let's go get a pup cup, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I feel you on that.
We can go to the beach afterwards, like all that. And after a bad game, like I'm gonna still be cool with Air Bud.
And Air Bud's still gonna be a good boy.
Air Bud is clutch. We rock with Air Bud. And also, might I add, as a future NBA, current NBA, depending on when you listen to this episode, elite golden retriever propaganda.
Oh yeah, they got it down. They got it down. Like, I legit thought every golden retriever was like Air Bud. Like, I didn't have and then I was like, oh, it's because of the Air Bud movies. And then it's like, oh, like this how propaganda works. But
because you know how much a purebred golden retriever costs.
Yeah, it's definitely something you're gonna need to go into that bank account for sure.
But what's your third?
So my third, it's like, I know some folks like they talked about it too on the nominations. But Donkey from Shrek, like, I relate to Shrek so much, and I don't understand why. I don't know what's in the minutia of the writing of Shrek. I relate to Shrek so much in my day-to-day life of just wanting to be at my swamp and wanting everybody to leave me the hell alone and just like doing my thing, man. But sometimes you need Donkey, man, to just have that comedic relief of life. You know what I'm saying? I think there's not enough of that. Like, there needs to be more Donkey moments in people's lives. But I think a Donkey too really gonna ride or die. Like, Donkey faced a dragon. I don't know how many people gonna be facing a dragon for me. I'm just saying. Like,
he faced the dragon and he also had kids with this dragon.
Yeah, that I still am. I'm still kind of I'm lost on that. Like, it's like on SpongeBob with the sponge plus starfish equals clam. Like, that's how my brain goes every time with that. But by any means necessary. I guess, you know what I'm saying? They had to get out of there some kind of way. And you know, he was going to do what he had to do so they could leave. You know what I'm saying? So, definition of taking one from the team. Yeah, he a little annoying, but hell, Shrek was hella annoying. I don't like it was kind of really force fed how annoying Donkey was. But
Yeah.
could you imagine not being able to talk for the amount of miles they had? It wasn't like they drove to what is it, Duloc? They didn't drive there. They didn't even have horses. They was supposed to walk in silence all the way to Lord Farquaad. Man, that's annoying. It's like, why? That don't even make sense. So I think everybody needs some donkey energy sometimes just to get, but especially with how much Shrek energy we get out here. So but yeah, I'm not
I
making
think
waffles with Donkey though. We're not doing that. He was doing too much after they got married, and he was like, "Yeah, let's all get like, all right, Donkey, now gonna have to you're gonna have to get up out of here, bro."
that's what I was gonna say. You can't leave out making waffles in the morning. That's the most important part of the donkey companionship. But I think Donkey is definitely an elite pick. Best voice actor out of the picks for sure. So yeah, we got some good animals here. We got some good nominations here. Like I said, I'm not really trying to fight your team, but if you're trying to hoop, I think we got you. Like,
Oh yeah, y'all would have it on hooping. Dexter, that's already 3-on-2 already. Dexter's not hooping. And then Battle Cat, unless I make him like, you know, I do the little Thundercats hoe, he gonna be scared to hoop anyway. So then he ain't gonna have no use out there. And then if I do that, he gonna be trying to kill everybody. So we can't hoop with your claws all retracted and shit. Like we can't hoop now. Donkey for sure is not hooping. Like just not. And as much as Draymond Green wants to say that
oh my god, we gotta move on. We
okay.
gotta move on.
As much as we know he looked like Donkey from Shrek. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, we
Hyphy
definitely
Doc, I'm sorry. You're ignorant for that one. You knew you weren't supposed to say that.
oh did I do that?
But ooh, I'm so mad at you for saying that. As soon as you said Draymond, I'm like, no, he not. I even was about to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe Draymond says something. I was like, nah, I know where he's going with this. Jeez. Well, I needed that laugh though. I needed that laugh. But we got these nominations. Make sure y'all tune in to our social media channels at Nat Nonsense Pod. I'll throw up some type of poll, graphic, audio. Y'all see something on Twitter, TikTok, IG, Spotify. But make sure y'all tap into that so we can see who y'all think is the best out of these.
Yeah, for sure. And comment, man. We want to hear from y'all. Just give us that interaction. But just to get into the topics, we're gonna talk about like our interactions with support in a digital media age. Um, so like for one, we're gonna talk about just like celebrity culture and what that looks like, and then how does support look like in the social media age and also COVID age, because I think that's another layer that kind of throws a wrench in it too. And then how to make social media work for you, you know what I'm saying? So um the first thing of just the celebrities, I think there's just an infatuation with celebrity culture where we have a society of extreme disparities between the folks that have and the folks that have not. And um and the entertainment energy industry especially, the idea is to kind of like build up these people to be exceptional to the human standard. So like if you can sing really good, you can dance really good, you can, you know, play basketball, whatever it is that entertains people, then suddenly you are devoid of, I guess, normal human compassion. but also normal human accountability and like normal human just interactions. Because I think when it comes to especially like folks' interactions on social media with each other, um, I think there's a layer to it where these media companies, if it's what Meta or TikTok or whatever, there's a concerted effort to push monetization. And so, how can we make money off this? And so, the something I've been really considering is how much that is a big factor in how people can get to your page to support you. Like
Mhm.
recently, just recently, they even came out with an option on Instagram where you could favorite your friends and actually see their
Mhm.
posts and not see other people. I mean, it's wild this just now came out, but I think it gets at my point that just like there's a concerted effort by the media companies to only push people that can sell something to you. And if you're not selling something, you know, in a way that like is agreeable to Instagram, they'll kind of shadow ban your content. They'll, let you post it, but your friends won't see it. So there's these all around background things. Um, but something that is ever present regardless, even through time, history, social media, is that celebrity adds a layer of uh, like excitement or
Mhm.
attunement to what they come out with that just isn't there for people who are living their, humble, normal day-to-day lives.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think it's also important for folks to understand that because the social media age is a lot more in our face, but celebrity and influencer culture has like always been there. Like brands way before Instagram, way before even the internet, like they would have these celebrity icons using their products, talking about their products. Just it's marketing at the end of the day. Like it gets your brand out there. People associate you with their brand. So like the celebrities that you rock with, you're already rooting for them. And so if you really want to be like LeBron James and you see LeBron drinking some Sprite in this commercial, listening to a song that you like, you might want some Sprite. You go to the store, you're looking at 7 Up or Sprite. It's like, dang, well, LeBron drinks Sprite. Am
Yeah.
I gonna am I not gonna drink Sprite? And so I think that algorithms and all that, it really messes up what I like to use social media for when it comes to like seeing my friends post, especially when the algorithm ain't getting it right. Because if my thing is like, if you're gonna show me non-stuff that ain't my friends, like at least show me some stuff that I don't follow that I actually like. Like,
That's the thing that TikTok does well. I'm not gonna hold you.
yeah,
Hey, you can find my commentary on TikTok. I was a big
me
hater,
too.
capital H. And then I got the app and I'm like, dang, well, at least when I'm on this one, they show me shit I actually
Yeah, it's like I'll be watching the video. I'm like, dang, I don't follow this page. This is exactly my sense of humor. This is exactly what I'm interested in.
Yeah. And so I think recognizing again, because we're kind of getting at the functions, like the
Mhm.
functionality behind these things. And like something I've been really thinking about, especially because of like Black August coming up. And if folks don't know what Black August is, it's basically like a month of commemoration for political prisoners and freedom fighters of like the Black diaspora. And the basic tenets are, I believe it's study, train, fight, and fast. It's not in that order, but it's basically those things. And one of the things I've been thinking about is like the difference between, because one of the things I'm gonna fast is making excuses, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I've been giving more thought to is what's the difference between a reason and an excuse? Because I think those lines get muddled and then it becomes easy for people to make the excuse. I wasn't even on my phone that day. I ain't even see that post from you that you was talking about for 3 weeks and posting previews for and multiple posts about. I didn't see it, even though I liked them. I liked the posts. And then it's like, well, are you just giving me an excuse to appease my feelings? Or are you giving me a reason you didn't watch it? Because I think it's different when it's like, hey, I don't like your content. It ain't really popping like that for me, but some things, it's just something that I'm just not gonna see. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think that's a really empowering thing to do, is to be radically honest. Because for one, that
Yeah.
helps everybody. You don't, that person don't have to feel like they need to make an excuse as to why they didn't do it. And then that other person gets some valuable feedback as to how they could possibly improve what they doing. So I think that's something that really comes to light whenever it's like, okay, especially as a person who makes music, like when there's these higher level celebrities that have millions of dollars behind their marketing, these big followings they have, like everybody knows, when Beyonce or Drake is gonna drop, like it's cool, like I fully get
Yeah.
that. It's the proportion, because it's like proportionally, like it's not even like it's not even like there's an expectation of like every single person that follow. Because I mean, I have a cool amount of people that follow me, but if it was just 30% that had liked my post or something like that, it would be astronomically more than what it currently is. And it's just an interesting thing to me, because it's like, what are you following me for? Because that's where I come back to always. Because like, you could just unfollow me and we could be cool. Like, I don't have that association where social media means we are like gonna ride or die by this app. Like, I fully care more about what somebody is doing in real life. So that part is just interesting to me. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and you brought up a couple of good points. I think the main thing being, or at least the thing that I really want to touch on, was like what it would mean for not as big artists. I don't know what I want to say, like artists without the marketing budget, like you mentioned, like what it means if 30% of your followers like your post or give a retweet to your post. Just because, like, at least for me, when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, cool, I don't even know if you listened to what the video was or read what the post was, but you retweeting that automatically just expands the reach and expands the likelihood that my content lands on the ears or the eyes that are supposed to see it. And it goes back to like, you don't have to like it, you don't have to engage with it necessarily. It's great if you engage in it, but it's more so, to me, it's just the acknowledgement of like the work that you're doing or the effort that you're putting in. Because I think that, and we got into this a little bit a few episodes ago when we were talking about support, but it's hard to put out content as an artist, especially when you're not seeing those immediate returns, that immediate instant gratification. You really have to come up with a lot of intrinsic motivation to release content, put it out there, knowing that you might only get 5 retweets on it, might only get 100 listens on it. But in order to get where you might want to go with your content, you have to be consistent and continually put it out there. And so that's why it means the world to me when like people retweet something or shout it out, just because like at the end of the day, you don't have to, like you said, you can unfollow me and all that is cool and whatnot. But the fact that you saw my tweet and decided to retweet it, decided to tag somebody, and it's like, okay, cool, you also want to see me succeed. And that's what I really try to value in social media when it comes to my friends who are artists, who are creatives. It's like, cool, like maybe I don't have the bread to support you right now, but I want all my followers to also see the cool stuff that you're doing. And hopefully one of them supports you as well, because we'll get into it later about making social media work for us, but we gotta be each other's hype people. We gotta get the hype up. And I said that I was gonna talk about Beyonce on this podcast. And it's like you mentioned, like I haven't listened to the Beyonce album yet. I'm sure it's a fantastic
Oh,
album.
it's top tier.
Yeah.
Excellent. Chef's kiss on the music.
Hey,
Amazing.
I expect absolutely nothing less. And it's cool like seeing people enjoy the stuff that they enjoy. I would also like it to be cool to see like people faking the funk a little bit to enjoy some of like the content I be putting out there. And once again, that's not hating on Beyonce. Beyonce has worked hard. She deserves it. She is one of the most talented human beings to ever exist on
Queen
the face of
B.
this planet.
Queen B
B.
for a reason.
She should absolutely have everybody on social media talking about her album at the drop of a pen. But like we said, it's a 30% rule. I just want 30% of people that fuck with me to also like, hey, like y'all should tune into Natural Nonsense. Just something like.
Yeah, because I think it goes back to, because I always ask people about balance, because it's okay, like it's never black or white. Like, oh, if I support Beyonce, they look at Andre and Kyler, they just because I listened to their album, and that's not what it's about. Is it in balance though? Like, are you balancing that out with people that are creating around you? Because we'll never overcome these systems of oppression if we only uplift the people who are kind of already there, if that makes sense. Like, because people also say at the same time, I know you've heard this a lot. People always talk about the same stuff on these podcasts, or people making the same songs. Ain't nobody making no new songs. Or I just was talking about people. They keep remaking movies and not creating new original stuff. Well, you know where that comes from. People being just addicted to nostalgia and addicted to what came before that they can rely on and depend on, and like, I know what I'm gonna get from this. I don't have to actually critically think about it or come into it with a different mindset. I can just know that Beyonce gonna come out with a fire song, so then I don't have to think as hard. If people want to be honest about that and give that as a reason, that's different than coming up with an excuse. Because once you start getting into like, oh well, I didn't exactly, I saw the Beyonce thing because it was it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. But like, we know of like at least a handful of people that we just met in college that really make beautiful music and like want to, because I think at the same time people expect like, okay, I want the Drake outcomes or the Beyonce outcomes of like millions of dollars and blah, 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 blah. Honestly, like, if folks didn't know, I'm not a capitalist. So I care a lot more about if people actually like critically thought about what I said or what I made, or especially like with the podcast and stuff. Like, it would be nice to be able to like sustainably live and pay for my expenses off of something I creatively do, but that's not a lot. Like, why are people acting like that's a lot of money? Like, why can't you make, I don't know, 65K a year and just be the rapper? Because once you a rapper, oh, where your chain at? I think Vince Staples was talking about this. Once you a rapper, oh, you ain't got no Benz though, where's your Lambo? And it kind of bastardizes the art into like, the only way you can be considered like a rapper or a singer is if you fit the mold of the ones that are most popular. Like, so if you're a singer but you don't dress and look like the singers that are out, then you got to conform in order to get that higher exposure, instead of us as a culture deciding what are we going to actually consume and support, because that's what we're getting at here. It's not that we don't need a Beyonce and Drake, because again, Drake came out with so many just jams for a lifetime of jams that I'll never be able to do, never be able to create. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally like the balance of simultaneously complaining about everything sounding the same or getting the same content that's pushed towards you via these monetization platforms, Meta, whatever. Why are we only getting these things pushed to us? Like, let's critically think about the algorithm a little bit, and how can we, like, actually support each other in a way that like honors our reality. Like, reality is my biggest fans ain't gonna be my friends, and that's cool. Like, but I would think that we also look at, because just getting into the next part about support, I think for me, I'll speak for myself, like support is more like, okay, when I was having a hard time, Kyler listened to me and heard me out and let me vent. That still helps me as an artist. That still supports me. That still makes sure that I can keep on doing what I need to do. So for me, it was like taking that step back and looking at like, okay, what are people actually doing versus what I might be hoping they doing, and have I communicated that to them? You know what I'm saying? Because I think for the times where I've like hit up my group chats or DM people and was like, hey, I'm about to come out with this. It would really mean a lot if you could, repost it when it came out. Every time I've done that, folks have retweeted it.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to bring up, because I want to make sure that we're very action oriented in what we're saying too. And I think specificity is really important in the social media age when you're talking about support, because like as much as like the digital world, the metaverse, all this fake social media stuff, like as much as you might see when somebody's posting something, that doesn't mean that it's on everybody's timeline. The algorithm works in different ways. People are scrolling at different times. Some people are mindlessly scrolling while they're in a Zoom meeting. Some people are really focused on scrolling through their timeline. And so, yeah, somebody might have posted something and they want to retweet, but as you mentioned, sometimes it takes to reach out to someone, getting back to kind of one of our initial topics, and be vulnerable and say like, hey, it would mean a lot to me if you just like put this on your story. You don't gotta listen, you ain't gotta like comment, just put it on your story. And something very actionable and specific, I know at least talking to some of my friends, helps people who are like, yeah, like I really don't be on social media or on my phone that intently, so I'll just miss some of this stuff unless someone specifically asks. And that's why I think when it comes to like the podcast or any of the podcasts I'm doing, I try to be very specific in the captions that I'm using and what the graphic looks like. Like, now, like I'm asking you to comment below. I'm not just putting this and hoping people comment, but I'm asking people to comment below. And I'll send the story to a few people like, hey, like I heard you like talk about this. You mind throwing that in the comments? It just helps a little bit because it helps with the algorithm when there's multiple comments, when people are sharing it. So I think being very specific with the ask when it comes to social media support is very important as well.
Yeah, because like support me. The first thing somebody gonna ask is how.
Yeah.
And like if I am passionate about this and it's something I care about and I think is important, it's also my responsibility to communicate that to people that I want to support me. It can't
Mm-hmm.
be because okay, so I took this it's about equity, diversity, inclusion, and international education. I got a certification in that. Um I didn't mean to flex that, but I'm just saying.
Light flex.
No, I'm just saying like I actually like know what I'm talking about a little bit, but inclusion is more than just inviting people to the party. And that's what people do sometimes. They'll invite to the party like, them text invites we used to get where it would just be like text, invite, screenshot, address, like this the Addy pull up, right? That's an invite to a party, but that's not asking somebody to dance. So asking somebody to dance is like, we at the party, hey, you want to dance, or like you want to like come take this shot, or I mean some we grown, or hey, we back here, we about to play beer pong, or we about to get on this karaoke machine, like come be on my team. That's inclusion. And if we're not inclusive with how we are asking people to support, then it's not really going to grow, because some people have different abilities, different needs, different things that inhibit them from supporting in certain ways. So like, for example, like my mom, she's disabled, and like a lot of times growing up, like she couldn't get on the roller coaster with me at the amusement parks and stuff like that. And like she couldn't always walk around the whole time, so we had to leave a little bit early. Um, but I never thought my mom didn't support my fun. She was there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? She paid for the tickets. You know what I'm saying? She made sure I had some little snacks, a little snack money, you know what I'm saying? And like recognizing that, hey, like, yes, people get it on that physical part, but on that mental part, sometimes it's still a disconnect that everybody don't have all of the same mental abilities and mental energy that it does take to do something that is that simple, because that person might not have washed their clothes all week. They might not have ate a vegetable all week. And they might not have been drinking water all week. So then asking them to do something else on top of that without kind of considering that, it kind of makes it a little challenging. So just something to think about when it just comes to what it looks like. Um, and like just going into the third part about making social media work for you, I think one of the biggest things that I kind of consider was something I learned in political science, and we're gonna get into eventually a episode about political science and cognitive science.
Mhm.
But one of the things with political science that was one of the biggest takeaways is costs, right? Cost to voting. That was a whole section we had learned about. Like, because people always ask, well, why don't people go vote? You just go to the place and you vote. And now they do mail-in ballots and all of this. Like, why don't people vote? And then you start blaming the people oppressed for their oppression. And it's wild that people who don't see that that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. But there's so many costs of voting. There's information costs. Information
Mhm.
costs me, okay, how much time does it take to learn this information and make a balanced and concise choice on it? That takes a lot of time. And then you have the physical costs. Okay, I gotta physically stand in line for how many hours, especially in places because folks in Cali kind of be a little bit. I don't think y'all really realize in other parts of the country it's just not so easy to vote. Like people be having
There's other parts of the country besides California.
amazing, right? That considering a presidential election, and first off, in California, if you voting for a president, that's just for funsies because but that's another conversation. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on my little poli sci tangents, but that's just for fun because. But anyway, so there's all of these costs that come from voting that have nothing to do with actual money. And so when we looking at the currency of social media, like what are the costs to people consuming my content, right? So if my music has a lot of references to the war on drugs, a lot of references to um, billionaire exploitation, it has a lot of references to colonization, right? That's an information cost to understanding my music in a way, right? But with that, I also create content where I define words.
Yeah.
So simultaneously, while you listening to my music, you can also go to my page and find a definition for the words I'm using in my songs, lowering your information costs so that you can actually interact with my music in a different way. And so that's just something that I think I personally do to not, because they tell you like, oh, on social media, you're supposed to just do one thing and one thing only, and that's how you get all the traction. Yes, if I wanted to be a one person only type nigga, and that ain't me. Like, no matter what comes of this, I'm not gonna be a one person type. Like, I just am not. Like, I have a polymathic mind and I have to explore that. But that's a strength of mine because I'm able to see from a lot of different angles because I'm interested in farming and gardening. There's an angle to that where I can explain all of these different isms and things in my music. Um, if I'm talking about things that are political education, I can talk about that in my music, but I can also educate it about it. And it kind of all feeds into each other. So finding ways to make your media feed into itself. If you selling something, you're also selling you. Like, so if all I'm seeing on your page, I'm not learning about what you want. I think because we're gonna get into Cool Beans and we're gonna get into the highlight, but Bina Bears does amazing job at this.
Phenomenal.
One of the best I've seen on the apps, honestly, of just actually giving you why they're actually doing it and not just like, oh, thanks for that sale. I don't, as much money. They could charge however much for them them bears, but the actual stories is something that I know actually moves the needle because people connect with that, and I don't see that enough as much as I see like other things. So, but I'm gonna get a floor to you to kind of like talk about it.
No, I had to let you ISO for a bit. You dropped some gems in there. I'll touch on making social media work for you. A couple quick points, and I'll get into our new Cool Bean segment. The first thing I want to say for making social media work for you, this is something that I had ended up doing like probably like towards the end of 2020 when we was real thick in the pandemic, where it was like, but I had to change who I followed. I literally made a new Twitter and started following stuff that was going to be more positive, rejuvenating for my mental health, because I think so often we hear like social media is toxic, yada, 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 like get off social media. And yes, and because I feel like social media can also be very beneficial too when it comes to connecting with people, when it comes to enriching your experiences. So a lot of people listening to this know, probably almost everybody listening to this know that I do poetry. But I decided I wanted to look more into screenwriting instead of poetry. And so part of when I was creating my new timeline on Twitter and who I was following, I followed a bunch of Black screenwriters, like Black writing groups, like Black screenwriters to the films that I really enjoy. So now, like, when I'm mindlessly scrolling through Twitter, I'm seeing what this person who screen wrote for Get Out is talking about right now. Like, what they up to, what are they listening to, what are they talking about, what articles are they reading? So now social media isn't just this mindless thing, but it's also very educational, to where I'll come across an article or two that I'm learning a lot just passively by scrolling through social media. So I think that's action item number one for me, is just making sure that whoever you're following is doing something for you rather than just giving you memes and videos, which there's nothing wrong with just having memes and videos on your timeline either.
No,
I just wanted to also have some other stuff on my timeline as well.
the balance.
Yeah, it's balance. Everything comes back to balance. And then the other point I wanted to make was getting back into the support thing and just how much goes into being a creative and creating content. And this will kind of segue into the Cool Beans segment too. But I think that people underestimate how much a retweet or like a repost can mean for someone who's really out here grinding like really hard, because more than anything, what I see a retweet or a like or a share as, it's like, I see you out here. Like, I see that you're hustling hard. Like the homie Jada, Black Beauty Near You, like I'll see like she's posting about these boxes, trying to get the word out. Let me retweet that. It's no information cost to retweeting it. It's taking a millisecond of my time to just press that retweet button real quick. But I know her journey. I know how much that she's put into that business and how much she wants that business to succeed. So it's like, let me just show you that I hear you, or just send a text message to someone doing some cool stuff. Like, oh, I see you posting about like your new song all the time. I gave it a listen and it's really dope. I added it to this playlist. That can make an artist's day. Like, dang, like you really
That
like.
it makes my day all the time. People be like, they'll take the picture of their car and my
Yeah,
like my name is on the thing and it's like the song and it's like halfway through and they list it. I'm like, dang, they really actually like listening to
yeah,
it in the whip. And like honestly, like it costs so much money to create. It costs a lot of money to create music, especially doing it, you know, as it should be. I feel like it costs a lot of money, but if I never get that money back and I just get those little like posts of just like I listen to it and I'm really bumping this. Look at me smiling
yeah,
right now. Like
yeah.
that's what it is.
It's solid. Like sometimes I'll see somebody like put a picture of like a page out of one of my books of a poem they really like all that little stuff matters. And I think that's the last thing I wanted to say was just make it part of your everyday life. Like make it very easy for you to support people. Like I have a playlist that I frequently play when I'm driving around, and any of my friends that have a song, like y'all's songs are in that playlist. And it doubles for me because I get to like passively learn more of y'all's lyrics and understand which of y'all's songs are my favorites. And then also somebody riding in the whip, they like, oh dang, like what's this? I'm like, oh, this the homie. This 1K. You ain't heard 1K, you gotta download this. It's on Apple Music, it's on Spotify. Like, oh, you ain't heard Jeff Devante? Like, let me put you on. Like, a Lost in My Own Distraction. You gotta give it a listen.
A classic, man.
It's a classic. And that's where like I really appreciate whenever I can validate that in my friends, and I see my friends validate that in myself, because it's been a rough couple of years for a lot of people. Like everybody on this planet damn near has had a rough couple of years. So if you having a bad day, if you having a rough day at work, but you open up Instagram and you hear like Sandman playing in the background of me, like in a workout video or something, like that's dope. That's love.
Yeah, and like I think too, it's like it like continues to fuel the process, and like we'll simultaneously like, and I'll admit to it too, like I'm not perfect, but we'll simultaneously like, because it going kind of wrapping back around the celebrity, like until someone's celebrity, then it's like this energy, but it's like you could just do that now and then they wouldn't have to go, because then it's like, oh well, why did they sign that record deal? They're stupid for that. Haha, look at me, I have facts and I'm smart. But they
Your
would have
voices
never.
kill me.
I'm just saying, it's just the voices help me cope, I feel like, but it's so annoying to hear because it's like you're faced with an impossible choice: pursue my passion that gives me life and makes me feel like life's worth living, or go work at some job that I can't stand. And people will say, oh, you should. Beyonce's whole thing, quit your job. Like that's a whole thing in the songs, right? But then simultaneously, when it's somebody they know is thinking like that, oh, you might not want to do that. What? What are we talking about at this point? And so just let's just bring it into balance. Bring it into balance, folks. Like, and be honest. Like, be honest and know the difference between a reason and an excuse, because it is a difference, and it's not about being judgy. Like, don't judge yourself. Don't take it as an attack. But like, there is a clear and distinct difference, and that accountability piece is what you're talking about. Of just like, if we all know that we're all going through a hard time, throw glitter, not shade. You know what I'm saying? Put some positive, throw out the positive energy into there, because there's enough negativity. Like there's plenty for a lifetime that I've learned over the past couple. Like the ocean was on fire sometime in 2020. You remember that? Like there was an
I'll never
active
forget.
ocean fire, and people act like they can't be positive for 5 minutes and say what's good. Like no, I'm not going for it.
Not going for it at all, which is a beautiful segue. Throw glitter, not shade. That's the UCSD isms of the podcast. The community guidelines has some gems. Like, I don't know if they was all bars, but they was some gems.
Look, throw glitter, not shade. I statements, life change. That we can probably talk about a whole podcast on I statements, but that changed my life fundamentally once I started using I statements. But
that one, and then the Elmo one, Enough, Let's Move On. That's my favorite, because sometimes, but I'm gonna Elmo us into the cool beans section of the podcast. So I think we've stated this on a podcast earlier episode, but this podcast once upon a time was about to be the Beans podcast. Like we was trying to think of an acronym for it. And just randomly I thought of a cool beans segment. And right now, acronym subject to change, but for now, it's Black Entrepreneurs and Artists Need Spotlights. I want to end every podcast episode talking about like a Black business, a Black entrepreneur, just someone we know who's Black and just doing their thing. And so this week, you heard Andre allude to it earlier, but we're going to be talking about Bean Bears, stealing from the about page of beanabears.com. Bean Bears' mission is to handcraft celebration bears that provide healing to those who have experienced loss, share heartfelt stories, and bring actionable awareness to various social causes. I personally have a couple of Bina Bears, and what she does is she takes fabrics from loved ones or just fabrics that have like some type of symbolic meaning and crafts these beautiful bears. I think she also has some Bina keychains now. And most importantly, like what Andre was talking about earlier, is storytelling. If you follow Bina Bears on Instagram at bina.bear_, you'll see the stories of folks who have bought Bina Bears and their stories of loss, their stories of love. And it's just really powerful because one, through like her reels and her videos, you're seeing just how much love and effort she puts into the bears that she's making. But then you also get to hear about this very touching story about someone, a stranger that you don't know, and just like what they're going through or what love they're experiencing. And I think it's really magical because yeah, you're spending X amount of dollars on a stuffed bear, but that bear means like so much more than just being a stuffed bear. There's intentionality put into it. There's a story to tell. And so just want to highlight Bina Bears because the people who know about Bina Bears, if you know, you know, and Bina Bears is high and it's only up from here for Bina Bears. So definitely want to shout out Bina Bears.
Yeah, and again, like there's a lot of competitors to this, but the thing that they'll never be able to do at those bigger places that I'm not even gonna name the names, or you can get a bear. There's no connection to the actual causes in the community and like where people are actually coming from, and the way that it's all customizable, like it's a one of one, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just making sure that y'all tap in with Bina Bears. Excellent friend, excellent person that has a true mission to change the way we grieve, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a different level of association when it's like tangible fabric. Like I think that's something that's different in the social media age, is that things just aren't as tangible, and being able to have that is something that I think we all need, especially going forward. So for real, tap in with Bina Bears.
Tap all the way in. And this is not a paid advertisement. I want to make sure that's very clear. We literally started this podcast. It's like, who we gonna highlight? And we chose Bina Bears. We are receiving no money from Bina Bears, nor do we want money from Bina Bears for this advertisement. Just follow and tap in.
Yeah, that's it. Cause hey, we gotta walk it and talk it. You know what I'm saying?
Walk it like I talk it. But that concludes this week's episode of Natural Nonsense Podcast. As we mentioned earlier, be sure to head on over to our social media channels at Nat Nonsense Pod. Check out the polls we put up for these annual nominations. Leave us a voice memo. For our video listeners, you can check us out on YouTube and subscribe there. And if you don't want to leave your voice in a voice memo, I'm happy talking with Hyphy Doc every week. So
Me too.
we got the support, but we always love additional takes on our podcast. Maybe you don't want to hear your voice on a podcast, just slide us a DM like, hey, I want y'all to talk about this. People have already been doing this, so hop on that train. Let us know what y'all want to hear. I know this episode's a little longer than the ones that we have done, but hey, we be having stuff to talk about, and we appreciate y'all listening. We appreciate the follows, the shares, the likes, all that. And we're going to figure the social media thing out. But until then, we will catch y'all next time.
All right, then, y'all. Peace.